Good day everyone. This is Rina Santa Teresa from Group 5. I'm here to discuss the social learning theory. Social learning theory is a theory of learning and social behavior, which processes that new behavior can be acquired by observing and imitating others. A social learning theory proposes that a behavior of a person can be acquired through observing others and imitating others. So you can acquire the behaviors of other people by observing what an ila binuhatan o pagsundog sa ila binuhat. People develop motivation to commit crime and the skills to commit crimes through the people they associate with. So people are motivated in doing crimes because of the influence of the people that surrounds them. It states that learning is a cognitive process that takes place in a social context and can occur purely through observation or direct instruction, even in the absence of motor reproduction or direct reinforcement. So, learning is a cognitive process that takes place in a social context. So, meaning, learning is a cognitive, so it involves the thinking, your mind, that takes place in social context. So, through the process of cognitive, which takes place so ay mo environment. Mao gani ana nga giingon nga social learning theory because you learn through observation, which involves lot an imo people in the environment or in your society, or purely through observation or direct instruction. So mo na to mo occur hiya tungod observation o instruction. Even kuno the absence of motor reproduction or direct reinforcement mo exist gihapon kini siya nga social learning theory. In addition to the observation of behavior, learning also occurs through the observation of rewards and punishment, a process known vicarious reinforcement. So the observation of your behavior can occur through the observation of rewards. So kanang ang behavior sa tawo, kanang pagbuhat siya og crime or dili siya magbuhat sa crime, kay tungod gi-base niya sa rewards or the punishment na makuha niya og magbuhat siya og dili sa crime, which also known as vicarious reinforcement. When a particular behavior is rewarded regularly, it will most likely persist. Conversely, if a particular behavior is constantly punished, it will most likely desist. So, when a particular behavior when a person who is who do good and tagaan siya reward, so he will not or she will not do crime. If a particular behavior is punished, so mo desist siya, dili siya magpadayon o dili siya mubuhat sa crime. The theory expand on traditional behavior theories, in which behavior is governed solely by reinforcement, by placing emphasis on the important roles of various internal processes. So the theory expands on traditional behavior theories. So an behavior han usa ka tawo kay ginbase hiya tungod ngadtuhan base siyahan pag-lead han mga for example law enforcement han pag-reinforce an ira behavior towards the environment. Social control theory, most people would commit crimes if not for the controls and that society placed on individuals through institutions such as school, workplace, churches, family. Theories believe it is society's responsibility to maintain a certain degree of stability starting in an individual's life, to make the rules and responsibilities clear, and to create other activities, the art of criminal activity. So, social control theory, it states that most people kuno would not dili mo buhat og crime tungod sa control sa society. For example, places na naaidagan tao sa schools, workplace, churches, o sa mga family venue nga na mga restaurant nga daghang kayog tawo, mapigilan han place, han iya environment ang tao nga mubuhat og crime tungod kay daghan kayog witnesses. Theories believe it a society's responsibility to maintain a degree of stability and certainty in an individual's life. So, an environment maghatag og katiyakan nga an individual kay safe hiya og layo siya sa trahedya. Tenets of routine activity theory is the social control theory is especially important when analyzing crime in impoverished area. The effect of poverty on the likelihood of crime is no secret nor it is a new phenomenon. So, tungod manggod sa kahirapan, amo to nga usalat ka reason nga ang crime mo exist. When there is not enough food to eat or children are left alone at home while their parents work a second job, the seeds for crime had been planted, and under this theory, society must prevent crime from happening. So, because ang mga situation, for example nga, ang mga bata nga mabilin sila sa ilang panimalay nga way enough nga pagkaon og kwarta to provide an ira mga needs, mga basic needs, diha na mo maghatag og opportunity nga mo exist and crime. It is said that the society must do or must have the solution to prevent crime from happening. Provide children with social activities when their parents are unable to are very important in low-income neighborhoods. Giving children an alternative to a life of crime is necessary under this theory of criminology. For example, ani kanang mga orphan, mga bata nga walay na ginikanan. So, ang tendency kasi ana, when poverty exists, han mga tao nga way sa mga kabus nga way kwarta, way pagkaon, makabuhat sila og crime para makakaon sila, para maka-provide sila sa ilang needs. Bandura's social learning theory states that people learn from one another via observation, imitation, and modeling. So, according to Bandura, that people kuno learn from observing. So, ang tao ma-learn through observing, imitating, and modeling. For example, kanang a teacher. A teacher should be a role model to her students. So, kita nga mga individual, ma-learn nato ang behavior sa lain tao tungod kay naka-observe kita. humana to observe ato gi sundog, ato gi imitate kung unsa ang iyang gibuhat. Og nahimo siya ato kanang sundugan gani murag nahimo na to role model ang iyang kuan kanang ato gi sana ato bagi gisundog. The theory has often been called a bridge between behaviorist and cognitive learning theories because it encompasses attention, memory, and motivation. So, a theory kono is a bridge kanang karugtong hiya han behavior nganhin ang imong cognitive. So, ang imong mind, ang imong pag-isip, the way ka mag-isip, o ang imong behavior towards an imong behavior as a person kay kanang magkasikit hiya. Dili siya pwede mabungkag. Key concept. People learn through observing others' behavior, attitudes, and outcomes of those behavior. Most human behavior is learned observationally through modeling from observing others. One forms of idea of how new behavior are performed, and on later occasion, this coded information serves as a guide for action, according to Bandura. So, ang imong na-learn, ang imong na-observe, ang imong na-imitate, kay nahimo na siya nga guide sa pagbuhat nimo og lihok sa pag-action. Social learning theory explains human behavior terms of continuous reciprocal interaction between cognitive, behavioral, and environmental influences. So, continuous siya sa continuous interaction between your behavior sa imong cognitive, sa imong pag-isip, o sa influence sa mga people sa imong environment. Reciprocal determinism. Bandura believe in reciprocal determinism. That is, the world and a person's behavior cause each other. While behaviorism essentially states that one's environment causes one's behavior. Bandura, who was studying adolescents' aggression, found this too simplistic. And so, in addition, he suggested that behavior causes environment as well. So, according kuno reciprocal determinism, kung ang imo environment, for example, na-expose ka ang environment nga na ay crime, excessive kaayo ang crime. So, a person kuno og ang kanang environment kay magkuan siya magkuan gani kanang magtapon gani sila magkaadahan relation between han environment nganhin imo behavior towards han imo environment. So an environment na influensyan ka og ikaw nakabuhat ka na tungod sa bad or good sa ang imo environment. It also, while kuno behaviorism states that one environment causes one's behavior. So han behaviorism liwat kung ang imong environment kay kuan bad, ma-influensyahan ka liwat as a person. Next liwat, ang behavior liwat ko no kay mag-cause liwathan imo environment. So for example, ikaw nga tao as a person kuan ka kanang bad kaayo ka, mahimo kag crime, maghimo kag krimen. So ang imo environment maapektuhan sa siya sa imong binuhatan. Later on, Bandurason considered personality as an interaction between three components: the environment, the behavior, and one's psychological process, one's ability to entertain images, mind, and language. So, an imo kono personality is an interaction between an imo environment, an imo behavior, Ganyan ang imo psychological processes, the way ka mag-think, the way ka mo istorya. Social learning theory has sometimes been called a bridge between behaviorism and cognitive learning theories because it encompasses action, attention, memory, and motivation. The theory is related to Vygotsky's social development theory and Lavis situated learning, which also emphasizes the importance of self-service. So that is all for social learning theory. This has been Rina Santa Teresa. Thank you for watching.
Good morning everyone. My name is Gadwin C. Bahinting and I am the reporter of Group 5. So, third, the child will also take into account of what happens to other people when deciding whether or not to copy someone's action. A person learns to observing the consequences of another person's behavior. A younger sister observing an older sister being rewarded for a particular behavior is more likely to repeat the behavior herself. This is known as vicarious reinforcement. This relates to attachment to specific models that processes qualities seen as rewarding. Children will serve as the models with whom they identify. This may people in their immediate world, such as parents, older siblings, or could be fantasy characters or people in the media. The motivation to identify with a particular model is that they have a quality the individual would like processes. Identification occurs with another person or the model and involves taking on or adopting observed behavior, values, belief, and attitude of the person with whom I'm identifying. The term identification, as used by social learning theory, is similar to the Freudian term related to the complex. For example, they both involve internalizing or adapting another person's behavior. However, during the Oedipus complex, the child can only identify with the same-sex parents, whereas the social learning theory, the person, child or adult, can potentially identify with any other person. Identification is different from emission as it may involve several behaviors being adopted, whereas emission usually involves copying a single behavior. SLT is often described as the bridge between traditional learning theory. This is because focuses on how mental cognitive factors are involved in learning. Unlike Skinner, Bandora in 1977 believes that humans are active information processor and think about the relationship between their behavior and consequences. Observational learning could not occur unless cognitive processes will at work. These mental factors mediate in the learning process to determine whether a new response is required. Therefore, individuals do not automatically observe the behavior of model and imitate it. There is some thought before the emission, and this consideration is called mediational process. This occurs between observing the behavior or stimulus or stimulating it or not response. So there are four mediational processes proposed by Bandora. First is the attention, second is retention, third reproduction, and the fourth is routine activity theory. Then attention. The extent to which we are exposed or notice the behavior for a behavior to be imitated, it has to grab our attention. We observe many behaviors daily, and many of these are not worthy. Attention is therefore extremely important in whether behavior influence other, imitating it to learn observer. Experimental studies have found that awareness of what is being learned and mechanism reinforcement greatly boost learning comes. Attention is impacted by characteristics of the observed, perpetual abilities, cognitive abilities, arousal, past performance, and characteristic of the behavior or event. In this way, social factors contribute to attention. The privilege and different models affect the relevance and functional value of observation and therefore attention. Retention. How will be how will the behavior is remembered? The behavior may be noticed but is not always remembered, which prevent imitation. It is important therefore that a memory of the behavior is formed to be performed later by observer. To reproduce an observed behavior, observers must be able to remember features of the behavior against the process influenced by another characteristics. Cognitive capabilities, cognitive rehearsal, and event characteristics or complexity. The cognitive process underlying retention is described by Bandura in visual and verbal, where verbal description or models are used in form complex. Much of social learning is not immediate to this process is especially vital in those cases. Even if the behavior is produced shortly after seeing it, there need to be memory to be referred to. And that's all. Thank you.
So, hi everyone. I'm going to discuss about sa kwan, reproduction. Reproduction, this is the ability to perform the behavior that the model has demonstrated. We see much behavior on a daily basis that we would like to be able to imitate, but that is not always possible. We are limited by our physical ability, and for that reason, even if we wish to reproduce the behavior, we cannot. So, ambot pasabot diri, sampag unsaon na to og kuan kanang saan pa na to reproduce ang atong kuan dili gina siya pigi. Kay limited ra ang atong physical ability. So, motivation, the will to perform the behavior. The rewards and punishments that follow a behavior will be considered by the observer. If the perceived rewards outweigh the perceived cost, then the behavior will be more likely to be imitated by the observer. If the vicarious reinforcement is not seen to be important enough to the observer, then they will not imitate the behavior. The decision to reproduce to refrain from reproducing an observer behavior is dependent on the motivations and expectations of the observer, including anticipated consequence and internal standards. Bandura's descriptions of motivation is also fundamentally based on environment and thus social factors, since motivational factors are driven by the functional value of different behaviors in a given environment. Routine activity theory. Followers of the routine activity theory believe that crime is inevitable, and that if the target is attractive enough, crime will happen. Effective measures must be in place to deter crime from happening. It is a subfield of crime opportunity theory that focuses on situations of crime. It has been developed by Marcos Wilson and Lawrence F. Cohen. So, kanang siyang routine activity theory na developed ni Marcos Wilson and Lawrence F. Cohen. Then, kung ang target ko no kay attractive enough, may tabo ko na ang crime. effective kuno ang measures, mahitabo kuno ang crime din, dapat kuno kaning effective ang measures din must be in place na kuno sa tarong nga lugar para makuha og tarong. In conclusions, routine activity theory can be used as a way to explain why crimes occurs and to predict who has the highest likelihood of committing crimes. Based on three requirements: a willing offender, a target, as well as the lack of proper guardians. This is assuming that when presented when the situation where they have the ability to commit a crime, people will generally take the opportunity. They are downfall to this theory, as it does not take into account any other aspects of the individual committing the crime. However, using the routine activity theory, we can effectively create programs that make it more difficult not only for people to commit crime but also make them less easy to victimize and cause harms to our society. So, routine activity ko magamit ko siya to explain ngano kuno ang crimes, maka predict man kung kinsa ang punot dulo aning nagbuhat aning kaso. However, theory kay effective ang pag-create ani nga programs that make it more difficult, dili lang para sa tao.
Good day guys. Routine activity theory. What is routine activity theory is formulated by Lawrence E. Cohen and Marcus Wilson in the year 1979. Later developed by Wilson, is the one most widely cited and influential theoretical construct in the field of criminology and in the crime science more broadly. In their initial formulation, Cohen and Wilson postulate that changes in the structure of the patterns of daily activity of cities following World War II could explain the rise in the crime that had occurred according to leading studies at the time. So, si Lawrence A. Cohen and Marcus Wilson kay si Lawrence, he is a sociological professor at the University of California at Davis. So mo to si Lawrence A. Cohen, and his current research pertain to application of evolutionary game theoretic models in criminology. Did si Marcus Wilson is the originator of the routine activity approach and of crime and everyday life. He also authored Crime and Nature and served as a professor at Texas University in San Marcos and from University of Chicago, University of Michigan, and has received the 2014 honorary causa from the Universidad Miguel Hernandez in Spain. And Professor Ferguson has been given Ronald Clark Award by the Environmental Criminology and Crime Analysis Group. So mo to sila guys nga. Then from this they are derived two apparently simple ideas with significant implication. First is the opportunity for crime may depend on a configuration of distinct, though not disaggregated elements of the aggressor or criminal. Second, a correlate of the first, that the absence of either of the first two elements. The first two elements is aggressor and target. That the absence of either of the first two means of the present, but of the third capable guardian would be sufficient it itself to prevent potential criminal event. So katuday ang kuan ang aggressor present sa kuan routine theory is short, an attempt to identify at the macro level criminal activities and their patterns through explanation of change, crime, and rate trends. Cohen and Felson, 1979. It based on criminal events, so motto on guys on distribution of grouping space and crime of minimal elements that make them up rather than on the search for offender motives and the use of a frame or reference of concrete. So there are many theories around the attempt to explain how and why crimes occur, but this one is no theory which provide a straightforward explanation of why crimes occur. It can be used as a practical tool by crime reduction prevention practitioners to analyze crime problems. So motto, Rat argues that when a crime occurs, three things happen at the same time in the same pace. So ang kundi guys, ang three things happen, that is suitable target is available. There is the lack of a suitable guardian to prevent the crime from happening. A likely and motivated offender is present. So, example sa suitable target. The first condition for crime is the suitable target must be available. The word target has been chosen carefully rather than other words such as victim. Dito sa one guys. 3 are the major categories of target. A target can be either be. So, person is a being such a human that can certain capacity or attributes such as reason, morality, consciousness, or self-consciousness, and being a part of culturally established from social relation such as kinship, ownership of property, or responsibility, that defining features of personhood, and consequently that what's make a person. Then sa an object, anything that is visible or thingable and relatively stable in from something material that may be perceived by the senses. Dito sa a place, an area with definite or indefinite boundaries and portion space as portioners of space. So kaning a place guys kay more siya location, settlement, or populated place, likely a have well defined name but a boundary which is not well defined in various by context. London, for instance, has legal boundary. So, mo to siya guys.
So, good day everyone. I am Roslyn Embori from BS Crim 2 Section E. So today, I'm going to tackle about differential association theory. So first thing first, before we proceed to that topic, I'm going to ask you, have you ever asked yourself why certain individuals became criminals? Napangutana na ba ninyo inyong kagalingon nga naman ang usa ka tawo mahimo og kriminal? So, differential association theory is a theory in crime. Differential association theory suggests that individuals who commit deviant acts are influenced to do so by primary groups and intimate social contacts. Differential association theory daw kuno nagsuggest sa individuals nga mga mag-commit og mag-commit og krimen nga gi-impluwensyahan sa mga grupo or sa mga intimate social contacts. The degree of influence one receives from messages favoring deviant behavior varies by intensity, priority, frequency, and duration. An overview of differential association theory of deviance is provided beginning with a general review of theory, followed by brief explanation of assumptions of differential association theory. A brief summary of key research develops are provided. Critiques of differential association theory are highlighted throughout the report and further developments of the theory are reviewed. Differential association theory is one of many sociological theories that aims to explain why people commit deviant acts. Ang differential association theory is usa ka sociological nga nag-aim nga nag-explain ngano ang tawo nga sa katawo maghimo og krimen. Differential association theory was proposed and developed by Edwin Sutherland in late 1930s and early 1940s. In response to a critique of criminology by Michael and Adler, Laob 2006, in developing the theory, Sutherland dismissed the notion that individual variants such as age and gender adequately explain criminal involvement. Differential association theory stresses the impact that others have on one's view of deviant behavior and the law. Differential association theory is the theory relies on the social content of individuals to explain individuals' behaviors. Individuals learn deviant behavior through the same mechanism that they learn other behaviors through exposure to primary and intimate social contacts. So, ang differential association theory do kuno is nag-rely siya sa usa ka social content sa individual nga nag-explain sa kada tag sa katawo nga ilang mga behaviors. Then ang individuals learn deviant behaviors through the same mechanism that they learn other behaviors. Kini siya na-learn lang ni siya sa usa ka tawo pod kitungod sa usa ka tawo nag-base pod siya bali murag iyang sundog. And also however, he noted that mere exposure to deviant people does not necessarily result in one behaving in a criminal or deviant manner. Rather, he suggested that the mechanisms involved in whether or not deviant behavior or criminal acts take place are more complex. He suggested that even when one is of a mindset to commit a deviant or criminal act, the social context of the situation must be perceived by the individual as an opportunity to commit the deviant or criminal acts. Rather he suggested daw bali nay mag-suggest anak nga mechanism or nga kuan nga pamaagi nga ma-involve ka about anak nga krimen, ma-involve ka na krimen nga makahimo na lang jud ka og usa ka kay tungod na ay nagsigsulsul sa imo. Ana. Then, usapod, ang social context of the situation must be perceived by the individual. Munang gihimo alam po nilag opportunity nga magbuhat og crime kay tungod lagi sa mga kaning ubang tawo nga gigani ka ana. So bali mo na lang pug kagmada. Differential association theory asserts that as one has more definitions favorable to the legal system over definitions, unfavorable to the becomes delinquent because of an excess of definitions, unfavorable to violation of law over definitions favorable to violation law. So, differential association theory is a theory based on the social environment and its surroundings, individuals, and the values those individuals gain from significant others in their social environment. It suggests that the definitions are learned through communication with intimate people or groups from whom the person learns the techniques, motivation, rationalism, and attitude. So, similarity, it does not suggest that any person who is around criminals necessarily becomes a criminal. Pero dili pud ingon siya nga dili pud ingon dakuno nga nagsuggest nga ang usa ka person around criminals mahimo pud siyang usa ka kriminal kay nay uban pud nga murag lag maipit ba murag madamay kitungod bali murag kaila ana murag lang po siya maipit og apil. Rather, differential association theory posits that those who have a greater ratio of unfavorable to favorable definitions of deviant behavior are more likely to deviate. This implies that one's likelihood of deviating is subject to change depending upon one's ratio of these definitions. Unlike some other theories of deviance and social control, one's inclination to commit crimes will vary across the life course and is not fixed at any particular stage of development or age. Differential association theory leaves room for criminals to change their ways to become conforming people. So, ang differential association theory daw kuno nag-leave og usa ka room o bali gitawag nga bali as a tuan term prisuhan para itul-id sila sa sakto nga pamaagi. Kay kasi ang kaning ang kaning bali ang kanang prisuhan, it's not just like gihimo na siya sa mga gipanglabay ng mga tao katungod makasasala. No, aka na siya bali gihimo na siya para sa usa ka tawo nga nakabot og
Examples of a capable guardian. The absence of a capable guardian, the first condition for crime is that there must be a suitable target present. The second condition is that a capable guardian whose presence would discourage a crime from taking place must be absent. A capable guardian is anything, either a person or thing that discourages crime from taking place. This can be formal or informal. Number 1, police patrols. Police patrols, patrol officers are law enforcement assigned to monitor specified geographic areas. That is to move through their areas at irregular intervals, looking out for any signs of problems of any kind. Number 2, security guards. security guard or security officer is responsible for protecting person, organization, or assets in the case of an incident. Their duties include monitoring a specific area, evicting trespassers, and writing reports detailing any occurrences during the shift. Number 3, Neighborhood Watch Group. A neighborhood watch group, also called a crime watch or neighborhood crime watch, is an organized group of civilians devoted to crime and vandalism prevention within neighborhood. And the aim of Neighborhood Watch includes educating residents of a community on security and achieving safe and secure neighborhood. However, when a criminal activity is suspected, members are encouraged to report authorities and not to intervene. And door staff, fences, lighting, alarm system, vigilance staff, and co-workers, friends, neighbors, closed circuit television, like CCTV. Some of the guardian are formal and deliberate, like security guards. Some are informal and inadvertent, such as neighbors. It's also possible for a guardian to be present, but ineffective. For example, a CCTV camera is not a capable guardian. If it's set up or sighted wrongly, staff might be present in a shop, but may not have sufficient training or awareness to be an effective deterrent. The likely offenders. When a suitable target is unprotected by a capable guardian, there is a chance that a crime will take place. The final element in this picture is that likely offender has to be present. HAT looks at time from an offender's point of view. A crime will only be committed of a likely offenders, thinks that a target is suitable and a capable guardian is absent, and it is their assessment of a situation that determines whether a crime will take place.
Nine assumption of the theory. Sutherland, 1939-1974, provided the backdrop for how people obtain definition favorable or unfavorable to violation of the law. While explicating the theory, Sutherland suggested that the following 9 assumptions guide how the theory can explain criminal behavior. First is criminal behavior, like all other behaviors, is learned. The theory has received criticism due to this first assumption that criminal behavior is learned in no unique way from other behaviors. So, criminal behavior can be learned. Um, the main criticism drawn from this assumption is that the theory is overbroad, which means in Tagalog, malawak, by claiming to explain all behaviors. Second is learning criminal behaviors occurs through interaction with people via communication. Learning criminal behaviors are all forms of communication are viable avenues for one to learn criminal behaviors. The means through which one can learn criminal behavior through communication includes, but is not limited to, personal face-to-face communication, written communication such as letters and electronic mails, video chat, and telephone conversation. Learning criminal behaviors occurs through interaction like messenger, social media, and other telecommunication. Third is primary and intimate social groups are responsible for teaching the vast majority of criminal behaviors. The essence of this assumption is that Just contact alone with criminals will not result in someone becoming a criminal. If one's father was ever imprisoned or ever participated in criminal behavior, this does not mean that one will become a criminal. For example, mo papa uh, na ay criminal background does not mean nga ikaw pod is usa ka kriminal na becoming a criminal. But according to the theory, the primary and intimate social group would include biological parents, adoptive parents, step-parents, and ex-step-parents. It would be also include sibling, more distant kin, such as cousins, aunts, uncles, and other relatives as well. Pero, dili mo matawag yun na criminal ana. Uh, it means uh, pwede ka mahimong saksi ana niya or lagi ikaw may pangitaon kay ikaw may duol niya, ikaw may relativean mo sa usap usa. Then persons other than family are also considered intimate social group. Peers are considered a source of learning definition unfavorable or favorable to law violation. Likewise, school personnel and other more closely tied social group may also provide definition of favorable or unfavorable definitions of law violations. As one can tell from this long list, possible sources of learning definition, unfavorable or unfavorable position theories is complex, and may be difficult to model in social science research. Uh, Learning criminal behavior requires knowing the techniques necessary to commit the crimes and the rationalizations and attitude involved with committing such as criminal acts or such criminal acts. Example, there have been reported incidents of parents overtly teaching their children to sell drugs, or commit other criminal act. While these instances do serve to underscore commit other criminal act, underscore the way one learns the technique necessary to commit criminal acts, teaching the reason for rationalizations and attitude is not necessarily done in this concrete way. Uh, so many incidents reported that criminal behavior is the way you teach your kids. Saan yung pagtudlo sa inyo anak or saan yung pagpadako. Then, take the example of a drug dealing parent, a young adolescent. If the parent is selling drugs to someone, there may be routine. The parents follow will the drug purchaser or guest arrives at home. Perhaps the father leads the guest to a back bedroom or a basement or garage, and after 10 to 30 minutes, both the father and the guest rejoin the members of the household. Drug dealing parents, listen, if the parents is selling drugs, someone may be routine. Parents follow. Sir, after arrives at home, perhaps the father and the guest tend to do this procedure. Most of the time, the guest visits, yet the child may also observe that the father does not do this with all of the guests, and that the children are never permitted to follow the father. And Race or sociological background. Sutherland stated nine basic tenets of his differential association theory. He was written extensively one it, on each one. However, in a nutshell, these are tenets. The first tenet is criminal behavior is learned behavior. Ang criminal behavior makatunon ra. And second tenet, criminal behavior is learned by interacting with people other by communicating with words and gesture like kaganina, murag hapon istorya, makigtabi sa mga criminal or makig-chat through video or messenger and all other social media platform. Uh, the main portion, the third tenet is the main portion of learning criminal behavior happens among small group of people. Yes, for example, not all naiuban nga magpundok-pundok, then maghimo og ka ng grupo sa mga kriminal like mga snatcher, like stapagang, like may ngana, small group of people lang. Although gamay ra nga krimen ang ila mabuhat, pero crime is crime. It is what it is. And then, learning about the fourth tenets, learning about crime includes learning the techniques of committing a crime as well as learning the motivation and attitude towards crime. Uh, techniques committing a crime as well as learning motivation of crime. The 15th is legal codes demonstrate what is good or bad and provide a motivation for crimes. In other words, the law expresses what is right and wrong to an offender. Uh, the the 16th person becomes a criminal because of frequent criminal patterns. For example, if one is exposed to a repeated criminal scenario, this scenario will eventually rub off on others nearby. For example, nanay kaagi ang imo ka istorya or imo ka lubilo is exposed na repeated na sa mga criminal scenario o nag-crime. Eventually, this scenario will rub off the other nearby. It means ma-influensyahan ba ka or dili. The seven tenets, the differential association theory can differ in frequency, duration, priority, and intensity. The eighth is the learning of criminal behavior by association is similar to all other types of learning. Criminal behaviors. These tenets explain that criminal is everywhere. Criminal can be learned in all types of learning. That the ninth and last tenets of this assumption is criminal and non-criminal behavior is an expression on the same needs and value. In other words, it does not discriminate and any person of any background can become criminal. Di tanan uh, criminal and non-criminal behavior is an expression on the same needs value. In other words, dili tanan kinaiya sa criminal nya sundugon sa uban is dili na matawag siya nga criminal. And then, in other words, it does not discriminate na. It says it does not discriminate and any person of any background can become a criminal. And that's all. Thank you.